You know, the other day I was going through the comments on my videos, and I noticed there seemed to be a pattern that was emerging amongst the Gen Xers. And many of us, you know, are in our 50s now, and some in our 40s, and all preparing for retirement. Um, Back in the day, when we were teens, we were told by our elders or parents that you work hard, suck it up, don't complain, don't make excuses, go to university or college, and you will get a good job, retire in paradise, and relax and have this beautiful retirement. But I think now, for many of us, you know, it just seems like a lie. You know, we worked so hard to go through college, and back in those days, if you didn't go to university, you were considered, you know, destined for a life of poverty, right? And you know, it now turns out that that's not completely true, and what we were sold on at that time isn't really turning out the way we want it for a lot of us from that generation. And we're faced now, many of us, with taking care of our elderly parents, and also if we have kids, a lot of them are staying at home longer now because they can't afford to move out. And so we're supporting both our adult kids and also our elderly parents with the healthcare costs and everything skyrocketing. Also, our retirement savings are taking a big hit. People are getting laid off, and aged out of their jobs. So a lot of us are worried about the future, right? Which used to hold so much promise. And now, people, Gen X, they're less optimistic about the future. And I think that's why a lot of us get so nostalgic think about the 80s, because that time was full of a lot of optimism and hope for the future. And unfortunately, these days it doesn't seem like that's there anymore, right? I mean, I noticed this in my life because a few years ago I went back and visited my hometown, and I went and visited an old high school friend, and his family owned a bunch of restaurants throughout the city. And slowly, one by one, they're closing down, and there's only a few of them left. So I went to go visit him during the trip, and we sat down and had a talk. And I asked him how things were going. He said, well, business is horrible. They used to be bustling. They had a dining room packed and deliveries, and now they just make just enough money in deliveries. And he told me that he can't wait to sell it, but nobody wants to buy the restaurant. So luckily for him, they own the land, the land that the building's on, so they're able to sell that eventually. But he's stressed out, right? He's stressed out about making a living, and he said he's getting old and he needs to think about these things. And I thought that was really I guess, a wake-up call, because I didn't think that, a restaurant, as big as theirs would suffer go through such challenging times. And recently, just to hit home this point, I ran into two chiropractors, and they told me that they have absolutely hardly any clients to work on. And they said that they're barely paying rent. Some aren't even paying rent at all. And I thought, wow, that is crazy, because I always thought that they would be making money hand over fist, because you hear about accountants making so much money, or not accountants, but chiropractors making so much money, and the businesses seem to have dried up, especially after COVID. So I feel for a lot of those people, and it seems to be hitting a lot of people our age, and I think I guess some of them were describing the feeling that these days they feel like they're just existing, not really living life. They're working harder, but they're constantly struggling financially, and every day seems like they're just trying to hold their head above water. And I'm curious to hear from all of you, Gen Xers out there. Are you feeling the same way? Do you feel like there's less hope and optimism now, and or are you still optimistic about the future? Feel free to chime in and comment below. Let me know what you're feeling. All right. I hope this video resonates with you. If you like my content, please feel free to like, subscribe, or share, and check out my next video. All right. Take care, and I'll see you guys next time.